Hello there. Nicola Sturgeon likes her secrets. It looks like her SNP membership won't know what their deal with the Scottish Greens will look like until after the event. As per usual, please like, subscribe and comment below. And when subscribing, please press the little bell, but also select the all option, or you won't get any notifications. As I said could well happen, it's looking like Nicola Sturgeon will be signing her party up to lots of Scottish Green policies, just so she can command a semi-cohesive pro-Indie majority in Holyrood. The green tail will be ferociously wagging the SNP dog and probably taking the whole of Scotland into ruination with them. With Alan Cochrane reporting in the Telegraph that it is believed that Sturgeon may allow the Green Party co-leaders, Lorna Slater and Patrick Harvey, to take up ministerial positions in her cabinet. I suppose she could get them into the, at present, poison chalice departments of health and education. That'd keep them busy and on the wrong side of the public. But there'll be no need for ministerial cars for those two, will there? If they stick to their eco-guns, that is. Anyway, we can see how this might pan out, because Nicola Sturgeon has suddenly sent a letter to Boris Johnson asking him to reassess one or more of the newly issued oil drilling licences in the North Sea, as well as diverting the workforce away from oil and gas and into renewable energy, hydrogen and carbon capture utilisation and storage, or CCUS. And no doubt we will be hearing a lot more about CCUS over the coming years. Nicola Sturgeon also tweeted, 1. Oil and gas supports thousands of jobs in Scotland, so our transition away from fossil fuels must be a just one. But the climate emergency demands that it happens at pace. We cannot ignore the concern that drilling for new oil is not compatible with protecting the planet. 2. Our responsibility to tackle climate change must govern the approach to any new licence applications. But licences for fields like Cambo were granted many years ago. That's why I am asking the UK government, who hold the power, to reassess these licences in the light of climate emergency. And all this is to meet her self-imposed Scottish target of net zero carbon by 2045, 5 years earlier than the rest of the UK, just so that she can be, as usual, different to Westminster. Seems she now wants the rest of the UK to build her green economy for her so she can waltz off with it later. Because if the UK government stops the licences for the new drilling, Scotland's economy could well take a hit. And the SNP will no doubt then demand that the rest of us fork out for it. Or more accurately, borrow more money that the rest of us will have to pay back. Oh, and she wants a summit with Boris before the COP26 climate change summit in Glasgow. Now, there are other areas where she might have to give ground to the Greens as well. Road building and refurbishment, for example. Greens don't like roads because they encourage cars. And then there's fishing, of course. Now, the Scottish Greens want to see a declared date for the cessation of North Sea oil and gas extraction. A cessation date as close to yesterday as they can get it. But they also know that North Sea oil and gas are the purview of Westminster, not Holyrood. So they might be pressing hard for Sturgeon to commit to reducing Scotland's carbon footprint in other areas, with things like climate-friendly farming, more green transport and greener energy for the home. How much more will the ordinary Scots householders have to fork out for their food and energy costs as a result? But onshore oil and gas extraction in Scotland is under the control of Holyrood. Wonder if the Scots Greens will insist on the small amount of that left be shut down with immediate effect. although as I understand it there is a lot more scope for onshore drilling in Scotland. Now this SNP Green deal was already meant to be finalised, but both the parties and Holyrood officials are still working on it to make sure it's legally sound and enforceable. But before it can be ratified by the Greens, they have to have a party vote of all members, and its ruling council where 2/3 majority would be required. They've already put the date for that back, and it looks like the decisions will be made over the weekend of the 28th to the 29th of August. But the Scottish First Minister is due to give a statement to Holyrood on her plans for government that next week on Tuesday the 31st of August. That's getting squeaky tight. But in contrast, the SNP has no intention, it seems, of allowing its party members to have such a say on this semi-coalition of chaos deal. In fact, it's reported that not even Sturgeon's Holyrood backbenchers are in on what's going on. That signals to me that this deal is a lopsided in favour of a livelihood and lifestyle destroying deep green agenda. And still no sign, as far as I can see, of all those free bicycles. And how will they power their promised free laptops? Plug into the grid south of the border maybe? Now the Scottish Tories have tweeted a response to Sturgeon's letter where she asks for Boris to reassess the Cambo Development North Sea field licence, saying, "To seal a nationalist deal with the Greens, Nicola Sturgeon is abandoning our oil and gas industry and the 100,000 jobs it supports. Only the Scots Tories support Cambo and a sensible transition to net zero that protects jobs. It's Scotland's oil. Our jobs depend on it." And here was me thinking it was UK oil with UK jobs reliant on it. Sounds very much to me like the Scots Tories' thinking is getting very insular. And the SNP will wholeheartedly agree with that last tweeted sentence as well. At the end of the day, I'm left wondering if the ordinary voter in Scotland isn't becoming increasingly concerned that they could end up with a Green government they never voted for. Also that Sturgeon can hold an indie ref 2 that most voters, it seems, do not want within 5 years, let alone at present. And all costing the ordinary punter more money they haven't got and a Green upheaval of their lives. Now the rest of us could opt to just sit back and watch as this develops and Scotland undergoes a self-inflicted, full-on Green experiment. Now the last big experiment forced on the Scots was, I believe, the hated Thatcher poll tax, and that didn't end well, did it? But this time the blame would lie with Edinburgh, not London. Hope they're prepared for it. Now, before I get to the next item, I just want to say a massive thank you to all my Patreon and PayPal supporters, as well as those that do buy a mug with my mug on it. Link in the descriptions box below. You really do help me keep this channel going. Now, if I told you that the UK has recently been exporting more to the EU than it did before Brexit, the rejoiners among you would think I was having a laugh. Well, I am having a laugh, because Bloomberg has produced some natty little graphs that show in May and June this year that the UK exported more to the EU than we did at any time since 2010. And this is backed up by BrexitFactsForEU.org research of data released by the ONS yesterday, showing that UK exports to the EU are now 20% higher than they were just before the EU referendum in 2016. And the website also reports that exports to the EU have rebounded by 31.5% since the first quarter of the year, having sold the bloc 38.6 billion quid's worth of goods in quarter 2. Now this is definitely not following the anti-Brexit script, is it? Bloomberg's report said, 6 months into their new trading relationship, UK exports to the European Union continue to recover in June and are back at pre-pandemic levels. Compared with a year ago, all British trade flows recorded double-digit growth, with exports to the bloc rising 29% according to data published Thursday. And I will also point out that the minute the Brexit withdrawal implementation period ended, the Eurocrats imposed all the rules that they could to gum up our exports in ports and lorry parks. But our exporters have dealt with it well. Now let's see what happens to imports into the UK from the EU when we start imposing all the rules on them that we deferred until the end of the year to help their exporters. But now is the time to celebrate the success of our exporters. Unless you're a pro-EU rejoiner, of course. So what's your opinion on Sturgeon's green push and our UK exports into the EU success? Please like and comment below.